Hello, welcome to Hair Talk with Tess, episode 2. I kind of didn't talk about the first video that I made. I posted a lot of clips from it, but I didn't talk about it. And to be honest, it's because I don't really like it. But that's okay. I'm not going to delete it because the information in there is good. I just want to make sure that I touch on certain topics and maybe structure it a little bit differently. Like I had mentioned in the last video, I am going to be filming a long form video and then clipping different segments and uploading them as well. So if you're watching this long form video and you want to stick around and you're interested in all the knowledge, I would love to have you. But if you are just interested in one specific topic, pop on over to my YouTube page and you will see the other uploads for the specific segments within this video. We are now in 2024. The last video I filmed in December of 2023, and it's interesting to reflect on what was going on in my life back then, even though it was only a month ago. And here we are in 2024. We made it. I keep finding myself saying that to people. I'm like, we did it. We made it to 2024. And I just kind of say it subconsciously, and I think that's something that I've been saying subconsciously since 2020. 2024 has been pretty good for me though. I have just been having a great time working on projects and finishing up projects and hanging out with friends and just really enjoying the new year and the vibes that come along with that. It kind of relates to the corny saying of like, new year, new me, which I say corny, but it can be impactful for some people. But I just always think about like the new energy that comes into the world and our lives because it's a new year, you know? The energy this year has been pretty high so far, and I hope to keep it up. I'm hoping that 2024 is a good year. A few of the goals that I have are just to kind of do me more. I just want to figure out who I am in life a little bit more, what I like in life a little bit more, kind of hang out with myself. I just want to do life by my terms for a second and really lean into enjoying that. If you have any New Year's resolutions or goals that you want to share, feel free to let me know what they are. I would love to hear them. All right, now let's get into talking about the things that you're actually here to talk about. And the first topic that I really want to dive into today is color maintenance. How do you maintain your color? What are some ways to keep it looking nice? But also, let's talk about what causes color to fade or look dull in the first place. There are quite a few factors that can play a role in causing your color to fade. To list off the main ones really quickly, we got hot water, hard water, poor heat practices, and bad or cheap products. You probably hear stylists talk about some or all of these things all the time, and there's a reason for that. These things are important and they're also kind of easy things to change. So I just want to talk about why each of those categories is problematic, and we can talk about some ways to solve the problem. First, we're getting into hot water. Ooh, we're getting into some hot water. I'm just kidding. None of these topics should be controversial. I don't think they're controversial. We touched on the topic of hot water in the last episode, but I talked about it in more of a relation to dryness, not necessarily color retention. But some of the same things that cause your hair to be dry due to hot water also apply to why it might cause your color to fade. First things first, I'm going to mention this so much, is that it opens the cuticle. Since I'm going to mention it so much, I want to talk very quickly about what that means. So your hair is made up of 3 main layers. The outermost layer is called the cuticle. Now the cuticle is where most of your moisture and your color and your toners sit. They sit right under the cuticle. Basically, the chemical process of hair color is that it oxidizes and opens up the cuticle, deposits that color in, and then it balances itself out or neutralizes itself and closes the cuticle, locking in that color. So when you do things to disrupt the cuticle, that means not only are you releasing moisture from the hair strand, you are also allowing those color molecules to escape and fade and look dull way more quickly. So hot water opens the cuticle. It also has clarifying or stripping characteristics, which, like I said, we talked about this in the last video as well, so I'm not going to touch on that too much, but it will strip or clarify your hair. And these things can cause your hair to be more dry, and with dryness, your hair will lose shine and luster, which can cause it to look dull or faded more quickly. Another big thing that contributes to hair color fading is hard water. Hard water is water that is full of minerals and also usually contains chlorine. What hard water does is it creates kind of like a scaly film around the hair, which prevents it from absorbing moisture. It also can affect your scalp health, which can just make your scalp feel dry and itchy, or it can make it overly oily, making you feel like you have to wash it more, which can also contribute to color fading a little bit more. Some minerals can bond to the hair and weigh the hair down, as well as it interacts with the hair dye, and it can cause dullness, it can cause fading, and in some cases it can even cause your color to look uneven. If you're showering with hot water and you have hard water, guess what that's going to do? Hot water is going to open the cuticle, and the minerals in the hard water are going to go into your hair strand, and it's just going to make things way worse. Hard water can also spike the pH of the hair, which will disrupt the cuticle within its own right. So the most problematic things within hard water are calcium, magnesium, and chlorine. The fix to this problem is to get a filter for your shower head, or if you can get a filter for your whole house. But starting with just like a shower head filter will definitely do the job. A lot of the shower head filters on the market will only filter out chlorine. So that's why I wanted to mention calcium and magnesium. So when you're looking for a shower head filter, it is important to make sure that the shower head can filter out those minerals as well as the chlorine. So if you find a shower head filter that can filter out all of those things, then you're good to go. Your skin and your hair and your scalp are going to be feeling so much better. I started using shower head filter I think it was at the end of 2022, I think. I cannot even tell you how much of a difference it made for my hair and my skin. My scalp feels so much healthier, first of all. I feel like it's just way more balanced and regulated, as well as my color lasts so much longer. And I feel like my hair looks shiny and soft way longer as well. And then my skin is also less dry. I do have a shower head filter that I love, which I will link down below. You can get it on Amazon. It's $40. It's the best. It filters out all those things that you don't want in your water. You want to replace it every 5 to 7 months, depending on where you live. So I live in Albuquerque, and we have, I think, level 7 to 10 hard water. You can actually look up the hardness of the water in your area. There's even one that's higher, which that's crazy. So I change my shower head filter every 5 months when I remember. Sometimes it goes a little longer and I really notice it. My hair will just look terrible. I'm like, oh, I think I need to change my filter. And if you feel like you have some hard water buildup, or you're worried about how hard water might affect your color, you should reach out to your stylist and ask them if they can do a treatment on your hair. One thing that I did whenever I first got my shower head filter is I did a hard water treatment before I even used my shower head filter. So it's a pretty easy fix, and it's definitely a $40 that you won't regret. So another thing that affects color fading is poor heat practices. Heat can fade your color. But why? It opens the cuticle and causes moisture and the color to escape from the hair strand. You probably have seen those viral videos of, I think Brad Mondo had posted one, and I don't even know, a bunch of people have posted them, where they put their curling iron or their straightener on really high heat, and then they do a pass, and you can see that the side where the heat was on, the toner is basically gone, and then you can see at the bottom of the hair where they didn't do heat that it is still toned. So then what are some good heat practices? First of all, if you are using a really high heat, I promise you don't need to. You can lower that baby down to 350, 300, sometimes even 275 to 250 for finer hair. And this one, which you probably hear all the time, is to use heat protectant. There's a reason why stylists preach this, and it is because without using heat protectant, your hair is just going to be more damaged, more dry, your color's going to fade. It's like going into the sun and not wearing sunscreen, which I know some people are guilty of. And I'm not here to judge, but whether or not you wear sunscreen, you know that UV damages your skin. So just like we put sunscreen on our skin to protect ourselves from burning in the sun, let's put some heat protectant on our hair to protect our hair from burning in the heat. Using poor heat practices can just really cause your hair to be dry, which we've already mentioned this a few times, but dry hair doesn't look as shiny, doesn't look as lustrous, and that will cause your hair to look faded and dull. Finally, we can talk about cheap products. I'm just going to kind of broadly name off a few reasons why cheap products can be problematic, but if you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm not trying to judge anybody or hate on anybody. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But if you're curious as to why stylists preach about salon grade products, here's a few reasons why. First things first, a lot of cheap products have a pretty high pH, which can do, guess what? Open the cuticle. And what does opening the cuticle do? Causes the color to slip out and causes your hair to dry out. A lot of cheap products contain plastics and petrochemicals, which can build up on the hair, causing it to lose shine and luster and look dull, as well as prevent it from absorbing moisture properly, which will dry it out. Another thing with cheap products is a lot of times they contain high amounts of alcohol, sulfates, and silicone, which strip the hair. And sometimes with alcohol, it's actually hidden within the ingredients inside fragrances. So if your product has a heavy fragrance to it, it's probably really high in alcohol levels. And sometimes you just need a toner. I recommend my clients coming in for a toner every 4 to 10 weeks. And where you fall within that range depends on your hair type, what kind of color you have, as well as your hair care at home, which includes a lot of the things that I just talked about. Now, if you are not ready for a toner, or maybe you want to space out your appointments a little bit more, there is one thing you can do at home that I talk about all the time to my guests, and that is color depositing products. Color depositing products include purple shampoo and purple conditioner, blue shampoo, blue conditioner, as well as products that just straight up deposit color into the hair, not tone it. Purple shampoo and conditioner, as well as blue shampoo and conditioner, are both toning shampoos. If you have blonde hair, then you would use the purple shampoo to control some of the yellow tones within the hair. And if you have brunette highlights, then you would use blue shampoo or conditioner to control some of those orange tones that you might see. Color depositing products, not color toning products, will directly deposit a pigment onto the hair strand. Most of the time, these pigments will just lay on top of the cuticle, and while they can last a few washes, you'll probably have to apply them more frequently than you would a toner or a color out of salon. But they are a great way to maintain your color at home. I recommend color depositing products to pretty much all of my redhead clients because red is a color that can fade pretty quickly. But if you get a copper or a red hair mask or shampoo at home, you can do that when you feel like your color is faded, and it will just add that vibrancy and life right back to your hair. If you have any more questions about how to maintain your color, or you want me to elaborate on anything I just talked about, feel free to comment or send me a message. I would love to talk to you about it more. Now we can move on to some social media marketing things. So within my salon, I actually am a mentor. I do a mentorship with some stylists in my salon,